Hello, dear audience. Good morning, America, North and Latin. Good day, Europe, Middle East and Africa. And of course, good evening, Asia and Pacific region. As you can see, we are coming to you. We decided to organize a virtual conference in these unusual times due to COVID-19. Media House Delo and AV Living Lab company organized this event because we are aware of new realities, new trends, new needs of people and the planet. Mobility Summit 2020, City as a Lab, is about changes. Like yesterday, we are hosting today brands and stakeholders from different industries. We namely want to show the whole picture of mobility. And as we have so much to say in this Mobility Summit, City as a Lab, and due to a lot of information yesterday, it makes sense to do a summary of yesterday and share some highlights. So I say hello to first moderator of the first day of Summit. Please, Daniel Audagic, you are co-organizer of Mobility Summit 2020 from AV Living Lab company. Can you please tell us something about yesterday?
Oh, I would be glad to. Yesterday was amazing. We had 3 sessions. First one was Smart Cities, second was Mobility as a Service, and third one was Innovation in Mobility. What we heard was amazing brand, talking about building infrastructure, how to introduce new solutions in the cities, how traditional automotive OEMs are now becoming mobility providers, how they want to introduce self-driving solutions to the market, and of course, at the end of the day, they were covering innovations, how to attract venture capital, how to work with startups, how to introduce innovation to boost the new mobility.
But what can we expect from today?
Oh, today we prepared 2 special sessions. First one will be about autonomous marketplace for self-driving era, and the second one will be the rise of e-mobility. What we will see in the first sessions are the great brands talking about how they want to run over the 5G networks, all these new possibilities. And then they will talk about applications, they will talk about design, the human-centric design, and they will talk about how we will spend time when we don't need to drive anymore. And the second panel will be about the rise of e-mobility. It's not only about vehicles, about the whole ecosystem. So it will be very exciting.
Daniel, are we ready to announce the first speaker of the panel?
Yes, Petra, we are ready.
Mariana Senčar-Srdić, head of the Internet of Things Technology and Innovations in telecom company A1 Slovenija, will share with us how connected vehicles could generate major benefits for society by saving lives, avoiding tons of CO2 emissions, and saving millions hours of driving every year. However, the needs are growing every day. Consumers have many expectations. What are the solutions and what are the starting points? Ms. Senčar-Srdić, hello and welcome.
Hello, glad to be here. A couple of months ago, we were driving to the seaside with my 2 sons discussing how it sucks that iPad battery didn't last to the final destination and why they put both chargers and power bank somewhere deep in the luggage. I remembered how we did it in the old days, when I was a kid, back in the end of 70s in the previous century. The highway ended way before. Consequently, the trip was much longer. Not to forget, we traveled with, for that times, at least for our region, quite a standard car. I have to say, I like their commercial. Not often do we see a male model in a car commercial, and having a cello is just a bonus. Sorry for the poor quality though, like I said. This is from the previous century. In this close relative of the car built for economy, not speed, Bruce Willis drove in Die Hard, our car infotainment system was something like this. A standard companion in those days that would totally puzzle today's kids. I tortured my parents and older sister with selected tapes of Biene Maya and similar kids-appropriate materials, while often even leaning between the front seats and checking what is going on the road. For younger audience, back then the seatbelts in the back were not part of the equipment yet. Such different times.
V mobilnem omrežju prihodnosti ni pomembno le, da hitro in udobno pridemo od točke A do točke B. Samovozeča vozila so učinkovita, zagotavljajo večjo prometno varnost in so prijazna do okolja. V realnem času zaznajo nevarnosti, najdejo prosta parkirna mesta in samodejno poiščejo naslednjo polnilno postajo. Izzive transporta blaga in osebnega prometa brezskrbno rešujemo s pametnimi vlaki, optimizirano letališko infrastrukturo in samodejno krmiljenimi letalniki. Prihodnost mobilnosti se samodejno izvaja v ozadju, da se lahko osredotočimo na stvari, ki nam v življenju pomenijo največ.
So we can focus on the essential things in life. A1 Slovenija is the leading private provider of integrated communication services in Slovenia. Company is owned by Telekom Austria Group and is an important part of leading digital solutions and communications provider in Central and Eastern Europe. We invest a lot of money in infrastructure. In Austria, we already acquired spectrum for 5G rollout. We are becoming one of the most relevant cloud hosting providers. Stretch also to other markets, Germany, for example, with our set of non-telco ICT services. The group is a European unit of América Móvil, one of the largest wireless service providers in the world, and that brings scalability. Coming from telecommunication provider, it's all about service. Let us take a look on how the journey to autonomous cars started. First initiatives started with the legislative requirements around eCall, emergency call in case of accident. Then manufacturers of cars, since they had the car connected, asked themselves what other information they could get. Remote maintenance control. Can we get diagnostic data of the car outside of the factory? Moreover, if I know how the car is performing, how can I link customer back to me as an automotive brand? Many times the problem is that when the car gets older, people do not use the authorized dealer. They go to the guy next door, to them that it does it cheaper. That is a huge loss for the main dealer. How can they use connectivity in that sense? Then there was a question how to sell more services with more bandwidth through the infotainment. And the next stop was autonomous car. How can we use the connectivity to let car drive himself and we do not have to do anything? So the question was how we could combine B2B and B2C service. Well, it can be done fairly simple, with two channels in case of the internet in the car technology. On B2B, you have eCall and diagnostics, and on B2C, infotainment system, using two different APNs. So multiple entities can connect through the same point of contact. And this is the point where we start thinking about vehicle-to-vehicle communication that is on the way to the autonomous vehicle. Connected car is not a technology, it's a service. But it also needs to have a real value. Customer needs to buy the outcome. They don't need to be informed that their car was stolen on a parking lot of their local airport while they are lying on the beach on the other side of the ocean. That will just raise their blood pressure. What customer needs is information that the car was stolen, police is informed, and when you come home to the local airport, a car will be available to drive home. So connectivity should be used for preparing an end customer service that someone is willing to pay for. You need to have a service concept. When you look at the connected car, some services have been around for a while. for example, fleet management, usage-based insurance, e-call. Others are just being established, like crash reconstruction, where various data about the accident is gathered and sent directly to the insurance company. In addition, there are many other services that come in the connected car before you even come to the autonomous vehicle. Can we really be sure that autonomous driving will address the challenges and solve mobility problems of the future? Estimation provided by our partner Vodafone clearly shows an increase of consumption per vehicle in the coming years. But what is even more interesting are the actual use cases with either B2B data impact or consumer data impact. In the light of our today's panel about content and autonomous marketplace for the self-driving era, I personally was surprised that in-car VR gaming is taking the top spot. In 2019, 82% of vehicles sold featured a touchscreen, compared to 53% 5 years ago. In the digital age, the in-vehicle infotainment system has become a way of setting vehicles apart from the masses. In 2019, Tesla is offering Netflix and YouTube applications on its in-car entertainment system. Car manufacturers can choose between two routes to build in these new functions: develop applications themselves based on their own infotainment system OS, or integrate Apple CarPlay or Android Auto so they can run their existing applications. However, most manufacturers favor the second option, preferring to use Google and Apple ecosystems. Manufacturers still incur substantial costs developing and maintaining numerous software applications. How will we get there? How will we end up in the car on the right side that actually sums up what is wrong with the whole concept, working from the car? When talking about connected car, one should be thinking about mobility as a whole. With a few dedicated vehicle connectivity technologies around, is there one that has the most benefits? Experts say that is cellular vehicle to everything. Why CV2X? Many automakers are adding CV2X connectivity to their vehicles because it has several key advantages over DSRC1, a variant of Wi-Fi and other technologies designed to enable vehicle-to-vehicle communications. CV2X can provide levels of security, range, latency, and reliability that have been proven to greatly exceed the capabilities of DSRC. Leverage the comprehensive coverage of secure and well-established LTE networks, reducing the amount of roadside infrastructure that needs to be installed and maintained by municipalities and highway agencies in both urban and rural areas. Enable highly reliability real-time communication at high speeds and high-density traffic. Support both short-range and long-range transmissions between vehicles and roadside infrastructure using the cost-effective module. Harness 5G networks to support fully autonomous driving, as well as being backwards compatible with 4G. Leverage the robust security built into cellular networks. CV2X builds upon the services already offered in the connected vehicle today, such as pay-as-you-go drive insurance, vehicle diagnostics, e-call, and connected infotainment by adding critical safety features that allow the vehicle to share data in real time. CV2X helps vehicles avoid accidents, work together on the road, and even detect road hazards beyond the driver's field of vision. Ultimately, CV2X will play a pivotal role in enabling the deployment of fully autonomous vehicles, which will transform the way people travel. The Car2X communication system available in, for example, new Volkswagen Golf automatically talks to other vehicles and warns the driver before he sees or hears any danger. But the efficiency of connecting a car to another car or transport infrastructure is today limited by the capacity of the existing communication network. This is also why, for example, Golf only sees about 300 meters in front via the Car2X system. The 5th generation mobile network enables much more, That is because it can connect significantly more devices to the communication network, and secondly, because data rates are much higher than existing capacity. Cars will be connected to much wider communication networks in the future. Our car will monitor road conditions and developments in a range of a few kilometers around us. An ultra-low latency network is essential for V2X implementation to high-speed vehicles. And this map is just an example, so you can see the current density of our base stations at one part of highway in Slovenia. In-vehicle infotainment systems are connection point between car manufacturer, consumers, and additional services. Modern generation of EYE provides anything from connected entertainment and audio offerings to navigation, booking, and payment services. Autonomy changes everything for infotainment. Video consumption will become #1 in-car entertainment medium. EVI will offer an interface for additional services, such as streaming video and location-based advertising. Additionally, needs of millennial drivers and increase in ride-sharing will influence the growing need for rear-seat entertainment services. Consumers want localized content with flexibility to change as markets evolve. An attractive initial approach is to provide a substantial app store so that car users can use their existing subscriptions to access the third-party content services they love. Society of Automotive Engineer classification is using 5 levels of autonomy. Level 2 is partial automation. Car assists with steering and braking simultaneously. But driver's attention is required at all times. Both Tesla's Autopilot and GM Super Cruise are examples of that. Level 3 is conditional automation, where certain circumstances allow the car to handle most aspects of driving, and the driver has the ability to temporarily take their eyes off the road. Most experts say we are now between level 2 and 3, so supervision of the driver is still required. So is it simply limits of these systems is holding us back? There are numbers of other factors in our way. For starters, the roads. Potholes, poor lane markings, missing signs are not going to support high-tech well. Traffic infrastructure is important. Communication also has to be in place, and once these two are handled, let us not forget about the traffic laws. Governments have a number of important decisions to make for society to transition to self-driving vehicles. In the beginning stages, they will have to define what weather conditions are appropriate for vehicles to be operating fully autonomously, since many of the systems can be disrupted by rain and snow. They can look for guidance in the airline industry, who doesn't hesitate to cancel flights if conditions are bad. They will also have to address how self-driving cars will navigate amongst the traditional cars. Possible solution being designated lanes, like in case of buses. Moreover, liability. In case of accidents, who is liable? Result of all of the before-mentioned activities will be the mobility model of the future, with many benefits. Now is the best time to be in automotive or in telecommunication business, as this is where it's all going to happen. We are not an ordinary telco. We are the misfits, disruptors, and challenge seekers that can support you in developing the future of mobility in the best real-life environment. On our backyard in BTC City, where also AVE Living Lab resides. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Marjana Senčar-Srdić from company A1 Slovenija. Now we are moving forward with our Mobility Summit 2020 City as a Lab with Fede Ponce from Ronin X Design, passionate artist. He's one of those people who are changing the world. Dear guests, this is Mr. Fede Ponce.
Someone had told me back when I was 10 years old that when I grow up, I would design experiences for futuristic cities, flying cars, hypersonic trains, and autonomous vehicles. I would have not believed it. At that time, those dreams only existed in my sketchbooks. Hello, my name is Fede Ponce, founder of Ronin X Design, a design firm offering next-generation user experiences for the mobility industry. In a way, I am still that 10-year-old kid who has a positive and perhaps naive outlook about the future of humanity. I am motivated by gratitude, and I cannot believe that every day I get to pick apart complex problems to find human-centered solutions. I am incredibly passionate about bringing to life products found in the intersection of data, design, tech, well-being, and sustainability. Today, I would love to talk to you about a future that is forming right in front of our very eyes. Some of its challenges and, of course, its opportunities. I am currently working with some of the top OEMs around the world, figuring out what the future holds, and the main question I always get is, how can I be different in the age of autonomous vehicles and alternative energy sources? How can we compete in a market where most major trends point toward less use of a personal car? My answer is relatively simple. The new generation of users is not interested in hardware. They're interested in experiences, consuming, creating, and sharing them. Experience has become the ultimate social currency. Today, users have a window into anything they can desire through their smartphone device. However, smartphones are flat windows providing a two-dimensional experience. Vehicles, however, are the next smart device and a moving portal to a brand new world of fourth-dimensional experiences. In fact, autonomous vehicles will bring about the largest paradigm shift in mobility, from public-private transportation to mobile extensions of one's own home. Already, we see a massive transformation in the way we think about cars. We began our journey in mobility as machine operators, but now we will become what I call the bubble passengers. This is taking some time to adapt to, but the biggest chasm for most companies right now is understanding that a piece of hardware can be iterative, meaning it can evolve via software, but also hardware updates. Cars can be upgraded over the air, not just for performance, but for security and, of course, entertainment. And so, today, a car is no longer on a path of being solely a machine. It is on the path to become the next smart device. Now, if you don't believe me, recently, a hacking race has been brought to light where users began unlocking features on their Teslas. And so the car manufacturer has responded. And now it has shifted to not just being a hardware manufacturer, but also a cybersecurity firm. And that's just the beginning. The manufacturer of the future might be able to tap into a user's social media feeds, with permission of course, and use machine learning algorithms to create the ultimate top hat space based on specific user needs. Now that top hat can be 3D printed and then placed on a mass-manufactured electric skateboard. This is not science fiction, this is today. Companies like Local Motors have successfully 3D printed entire fleets of autonomous vehicles and have even conducted crowdsourced design competitions. Once we understand this paradigm, then we must ask ourselves, how will we interact with these new devices? And what are the market opportunities for digital ecosystems within them? Currently, the initial HMI trends point us to minimalism and over-reliance on screens. This has been our first solution as designers. We're kind of just replacing the mobile experience and bringing that into the vehicles. And to be honest, it's been a little bit awkward. Most of the design focus has been around transferring what was once physical input into digital one. But this is only one solution and one point of view. In fact, personally, I find it lacking and not truly human-centered. In the exploration of future experiences, we must consider all the possible ranges of human input. Touch, sound, vision, and even our own emotions and faces can become input. We also need to consider context. Where is the user going? Why is a user utilizing this space? Is it for privacy or is it for health reasons? Is a user going to a meeting or to a football game? Or is a user going to a romantic date? Does the user own the vehicle or is the vehicle part of a subscription service? If the vehicle is private, does it become an adjacent room in the home? Or maybe an in-home office space? What is the importance of digital customization and secure universal profiles? In a post-COVID global warming reality, what role does transport, health, and sanitation play? What we thought was coming 15 years into the future has actually been accelerated by the global pandemic. Our ideas of space have changed dramatically, and the need for digital transformation has caught many companies off guard. I know it all seems like a lot, but that is what next generation experience designers need to think about. Our thinking and problem-solving approach is holistic. We do not just look at a screen as part of a digital solution. We have to look at the entire context, the digital ecosystem, the user behavior, and of course, social impact and sustainability. The next logical step is integration and harmonization with smart cities and smart commerce. Picture the following scenario. Could an autonomous vehicle serve as a classroom for education? Real-time graphics rendering, LiDAR, digital twin cities, and motion tracking could take school buses out of this world and directly to Mars. What about sports store of the future? Could companies sync autonomous drones to deliver custom-grown biodegradable cleats right into a soccer field? Or right into an autonomous vehicle in motion? The answer to all of this is yes. And the even more exciting answer is that all these interactions will need an interface. The question is, will interfaces of the future be screens or something else? And what will define these experiences? And this is why today it's so important that I tell you we must think beyond the screen. That's why a next generation product begins with understanding a system, an entire system, having empathy for participants, followed by disruption of said system with a clear collateral impact analysis. It then continues with innovation as the initial state of a solution, but finalizes with harmonization. The cycle then repeats each time, improving itself while respecting all the active players in the ecosystem involved. The reason I say that is because so far we've seen a lot of disruption without innovation, and a lot of innovation without harmonization. That is why our biggest challenge as designers is not to change technology. It is to change minds in a way that creates platforms for collective success. Contact me if you have questions about next-gen product design cycles and the future of user experience. I hope to see you in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. Ponce. And now we offer you a great story about platform provider and one of the biggest disruptors of mobility space in recent years, Uber. With us is the head of public policy, Central and Eastern Europe, Mark Boris Andrianic. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about the future of urban mobility and how we can cut congestion and pollution by using private cars for public good, and how all of this can be done by using cutting-edge technology and existing infrastructure. Now, it's easy to demonize the car. There are over 1 billion cars in the world today. But the cars themselves aren't really the problem. It's the individual use of cars that is the real problem. Individual car use comes at tremendous public cost. In cities like LA and Sydney, people spend more than 2 working weeks stuck in traffic every year. That's less time with your family. That's less time at work. And that's a whole load of stress that nobody really needs. What's more, congestion increases pollution. Today, 22% of all CO2 emissions globally come from transportation. The good news is that there's an alternative to a world that looks like a parking lot and moves like a traffic jam. It's a world where more people share rides and take public transport. An OECD study estimated that if every car on the road today was shared, we would only need 3% of the cars that we have today. The benefits would be substantial. The congestion and pollution would decrease, and the cost of running public transportation systems would go down as well. The question is, how do we get there? Well, we get there by providing affordable, safe, and convenient alternatives to private car ownership. We need to make sharing a car a lot easier and more convenient for people to change their behavior. That's where Uber can help. Now, to be honest, when our founders started Uber many years ago, they weren't thinking about any of that. In fact, they were super excited about the idea that you could press a button on your smartphone and get a car in minutes. It was only when the ride-sharing really took off that we began to realize the enormous benefits for cities and the people who live in them. Today, Uber is the largest mobility platform in the world. We serve over 10,000 cities across 6 continents. We have more than 100 million active monthly users. And so far, we have completed over 18 billion rides on our platform. Uber has proven that ride-sharing can reliably serve every corner of the city, including the parts that other forms of transportation do not reach. This is Paris. Here you can see Uber trips in underprivileged areas. With Uber, there is no destination discrimination. No matter where you are or who you are, you can always get a ride. What's more, services like Uber complement public transport. In London, nearly 40% of our rides start or ends within 200 meters of a train station or a metro station. By complementing existing transport systems, we can easily expand their reach at no extra cost to taxpayers. The synergies we're seeing between ride-sharing and public transport are purely organic. That's why we have partnered with dozens of cities and their public transport providers around the world, from Toronto to Nice in France. We are integrating buses, trams, and the metro with our platform. In an increasing number of cities, you can already see real-time transit information and purchase tickets directly in the Uber app. To make multimodality a reality, we are also integrating other mobility options, such as Lime electric scooters and Jump electric bikes. Our ambition is to become Amazon for transportation. As the biggest mobility platform in the world, it's our responsibility to help speed up the transition to clean energy. That's why we announced a major sustainability pledge last week. Our global goal is to become a zero-emission platform by 2040, with an earlier target of 2030 in major US, European, and Canadian cities. To achieve that, we will expand our fully electric Uber Green service to more than 65 cities around the world already this year. We also committed $800 million to help our drivers switch to electric vehicles. We will continue integrating public transport and micromobility services with our platform. At Uber, we believe that the future of urban mobility is not only electric and shared, but also autonomous. Developing self-driving technology is one of the greatest challenges of our time. If successful, these vehicles have a potential to make our roads safer and transportation more affordable for everyone. Ultimately, we want to bring self-driving vehicles to Uber's network around the world. Right now, we are focused on the development and testing of safe self-driving technology, starting with 5 cities in the US and Canada. We are also developing shared air transportation between cities and suburbs, and within cities ultimately. We're working with partners from the aviation industry to launch fleets of small electric vertical takeoff and landing aircrafts. We are proud that one of our partners is also an innovative and successful Slovenian company called Pipistrel. Ladies and gentlemen, a better future is within our grasp. It's a future where people share rides and take public transport simply because it's better than owning a car. It's a future where people have equal access to affordable transportation and where people spend a lot less time behind the wheel. This future is closer than you think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Andrijanic. Next special guests in our Mobility Summit, which you watch in more than 10 countries around the globe, are key speakers from another very famous brand. From BMW, we have Mr. Alex Wolfson, Mini App Business Manager, and Mr. Julian Linich, Product Owner in Mobility Services. Dear team, it is great to have you with us.
With your BMW plug-in hybrid car, you experience the comfortable way of e-mobility. And the best is, BMW offers you a reward for electric driving. Collect BMW points for every electrified kilometer. The more you drive electrically, the more points you earn. To improve the urban quality of life, more and more cities are supporting electric driving in many ways. As a pioneer in innovation and sustainability, BMW leads the way and sets in-car e-drive zones based on green zones in city centers. Your BMW plug-in hybrid recognizes these zones and automatically switches to electric mode upon entering. By the way, in e-drive zones, 2 BMW points are collected for every driven kilometer. For your earned BMW points, you can redeem attractive incentives. For example, free public charging. BMW points. Drive, earn, redeem.
Hello, Ljubljana. I'm Alex Wolfson. I'm with the BMW app team.
Yeah, and also warm welcome from my side. My name is Julian Linich, also from BMW.
Right. Julian, watching this demo of video of BMW points, it's really amazing and inspiring, and I'm just so curious, how did this evolve? How did this come about?
Yeah, thanks a lot for this question, Alex. It's actually a very good question. It started not that long ago, and for us as BMW, sustainability is a really important topic, and same for our customers. And so we thought about how can we, in the best way, support the motivation of our customers in the way of sustainability. And this is how the idea of BMW's points was started, actually. Yeah.
Interesting, but I know we're selling lots and lots of electric cars and PHEVs. So, what were the problems that you sort of saw in terms of creating new e-mobility behavior? Because people already had the hardware. How come they weren't driving electric?
Yeah, exactly. It was like this. It is. We see that our customers are already very motivated in driving electric, and we thought about how can we support them? What can we do for them to really support them in this sustainability approach. And this is how that we came up with a certain kind of incentivation. With BMW points, we really try to provide our customers with an incentivation for the electric driving of their cars.
What are the kind of problems the customers faced? How do you sort of address that with BMW points?
Yeah, for our especially plug-in hybrid customers, charging is something that is totally new to them. I maybe wouldn't name it a challenge, but that is something that they need and want to get more familiar with, and that they would like to more get convenient with. And with BMW points, we offer a program where we actually support them in their public charging environment and their public charging area via providing them with free charging in or for public charging points. Yeah. This is what we actually do in the first step.
Okay, but tell me more. How does it work? I just, came back from the dealership. I've got my brand new hybrid. What happens next?
Yeah. It's actually pretty simple. So our new My BMW app is the core front end for our customers, and their customer can easily loop into the service and then there start collecting their points. It's pretty simple. It's just for each driven electric kilometer, you earn a point, and then these points can be redeemed for free public charging in the first step.
I've heard about these e-zones. I mean, how does this fit into this program? Is it separate? Is it part of the same thing?
Very good question. E-zones actually is something that we see jointly with BMW points as an holistic approach. So in an e-zone or e-drive zone, as we name it, you get for each electric driven kilometer even 2 points. So there we want to incentivize our customers for even more electric driving, and that's why they can even earn the double amount of points there.
So to take advantage of the e-zone, does the customer have to do anything?
This is also an advantage, and there also, I believe, it was important that we launched this like an MVP, like a minimal viable product. And the customer doesn't have to do anything. It's like the car automatically switches to the electric driving mode, and thereby customers get automatically supported and being even more sustainable there.
Wow, that's good. So this is amazing. So you have something that's working in the app, in the car switches automatically. I mean, this sounds like this wasn't an easy task to get done, especially in a company, BMW. It's got to be hard.
Yeah, of course you have to involve many departments and you have many stakeholders. And yes, you have the car that needs to be integrated, you have back-end system, front-end systems. But this actually was a pretty cool and nice, maybe not challenge, but goal to go for. And I believe, as far as we received the first customer feedback, it was also worth it to do so.
That's cool. Well, I can at least say from the app, we're super excited to have this feature in there. I really love it because it gives people an opportunity just to have something new. Every time I'm driving electric, I can go in, I can check the points. And I understand you can even redeem a point straight in the app. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. This was also what was important for us, that the customer doesn't have to move between different ecosystems. The customer can directly in the My BMW app redeem the points, as said in the first step for free public charging. But stay excited. There will follow further options and possibilities that we want to go for. Yeah.
That's great.
So also thanks a lot to you as the app team. I think the My BMW app is a very important step forward for us. And we are looking forward to many excited existing and new customers here.
Great. Thanks a lot, Julian.
You're welcome. Thank you. And bye to Ljubljana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wolfson and Mr. Linig. Dear audience in Europe, America, Asia, Africa, Before the coffee break, it is time for our round table. Daniel will be the moderator and he will tell you all the relevant house rules and, of course, all the guests of his round table with the title City as a Lab Summit. Daniel, take it away.
Hello and welcome at our roundtable, the content and autonomous marketplace for self-driving era. First, I would like to introduce our three panelists. Ms. Mariana Sinčar-Srdić, the head of IoT technology and innovation at A1 Slovenija. Mariana has many years of work experience in the field of information and telecommunication technology. Next is Mr. Fede Ponce, the founder and chief innovation officer at Ronin X Design. Ronin X Design is a multidisciplinary, award-winning studio developing UI and UX solutions for the world's best OEMs and mobility startups. And last but not the least, Mr. Alex Wolfson, my BMW Mini App Business Manager at BMW Group. Alex is currently focusing on launching the new mobility consumer app connecting touch points from the BMW Group and the My BMW and Mini App. Dear audience, please feel free to post your questions in the chat and let's start. 5G networks are crucial for autonomous driving and vehicle-to-vehicle, vehicle-to-infrastructure, vehicle-to-X communication. So Mariana, how does A1 plan on building a smart 5G infrastructure?
Hi to all the panelists. I'm glad to be part of this panel. Also, okay, I will just start with the panel. Within Telecom Austria Group, we have a lot of experience with setting up 5G networks already. We are doing tests within every country we are present currently already. So within Austria, we already acquired the frequency spectrum. And some additional interesting tests are performed with, for example, with Austrian Railways. We already are performing network slicing. And there are, for example, being tests performed on 5G standalone mode already within Belarus and Bulgaria. Coming back to Slovenia, we started with the tests already last December on our business building in corporate headquarters in Betice, where also Living Rep is located. So the aim of this test site was to, with the partner agreement with Betice, boost cooperation in development in this space, to test out the future business models with use of 5G technology. And additionally, currently we are setting two other test sites. They're in preparation phase. One is within Smart City project, with where the demo environment for multimodal mobility is being tested out with several use cases. And additional interesting one is one with 5G industrial use cases, including measurement and traffic equipment. But one thing is clear now, 5G will be a facilitator for many industries and will enable them to become globally competitive. And we are glad to be a small part of this also.
Great, thank you. It's lovely. So Alex, today we cannot imagine smartphone without apps. It's millions and millions of apps available in stores. And soon vehicles will be having apps as well, besides radio, navigation, maps, the closest gas station and similar. So what are, according to your opinion, the driver behind this?
Well, I think it's, for us at BMW, it's always about customer first. And we want to basically bring them the best of breed of everything that we offer in our vehicles. We've been in apps for a long time. Even before we had Apple CarPlay, BMW had been allowing customers to use things like Spotify, directly in the car. But as we see going forward, there's things that, let's sort of say that the ecosystems like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto are going to provide the great wide diversity and long tail of infotainment that customers want. And at the same time, there's things that only we can do in BMW to really sort of give customers the experience they want. I think, we had the sort of presentation earlier about BMW points, and that's where we want to focus on. We don't want to recreate and rebuild things that are out there. We want to basically focus on if there's something, for example, we've done Spotify directly as a native app into our head units, so where we can really make a difference, really create synergies and benefits. We want to be there to have the best experience the customer can have, so they want to have a BMW to explore everything they want to do. And I think there's only going to be more. I mean, I think especially as we, sort of in the future, as we go into autonomous, we're going to see a lot more experiences that the customers are going to want when they have more free time in the car.
Yeah, and creating a completely new market. Intel predicts that this passenger economy will be 7 trillion market by 2050. So Fede, thank you for joining us. And I don't know whether it's good morning also for you. We are already in what, close to 1 a.m.?
It's early in the morning. It's 1 a.m. Yes.
Yeah, but for you it's really early in the morning. Yeah. So once for the audience, Fede is joining us live from Los Angeles, California. And Fede, for you as a passionate artist and human-centric designer, this is a perfect playground. So could you share with us how the leading brands in automotive industry can create award-winning in-car experience, mainly, let's say, based on infotainment?
Sure, absolutely. I think Alex is right on point. I mean, he mentioned a lot of the things that we're looking at right now. But I think the most important thing for companies is to realize that experience is not just hardware and not just software, right? So when we kind of take a look back at what really makes a great experience, we have to look at human emotions, human needs. And a valuable question for all companies is, how do we interpret those human values, those real life interactions and emotions into cohesive digital experiences, right? So the user experience truly begins outside of the vehicle and ends outside of the vehicle. And one of the things that I really liked about BMW's presentation with Alex today was they were showing a really seamless ecosystem between the mobile device and, as you well mentioned, the car as a device itself. So that interconnection. Now, specifically speaking about what I think is the golden chalice of future experiences, we're talking about how to make the technology invisible. So from a software perspective, we want to be able to, again, as Alex mentioned properly, to create invisible synergies between ecosystems. That's the most important part. For some brands, it will be important to create brand new experiences from scratch. And for other brands, their value will be in those seamless synergies. In terms of hardware, we have to look at the full range of human inputs and outputs, right? So we have to look at new ways of interpreting haptic feedback, natural language and voice assistants, natural ways to understand human gesture, and of course, using audio and scent to drive experiences. We already see a lot of luxury brands introducing this as well. And again, it's all about creating that personalized cocoon. So yeah, I think the biggest trends that we will see is it will be around synergies, will be around over-the-air customization and heavy personalization from the user, and brands that are able to produce those results quickly will be ahead of the curve for sure.
Great, great. So Alex, according to your opinion, what will be the first applications for connected and autonomous driving?
I think people are going to want to watch, keep binge watching their Netflix, but that would just be me. But I mean, I think that, I agree a bit with in terms of like the world of Fede is that, we really need to let it's really a customer behavior, customer-centric decision. I think from my perspective from BMW, what we need to basically do two things. One is to understand what we can provide and what's important from a BMW perspective, but also to be able to have a platform that's flexible and can allow customers to sort of, again, bring different ecosystems, different applications into the car, to be able to have the kind of synergies, to have the kind of open APIs that could allow other people to develop inside the BMW platform. So I'd rather not prognosticate on what an application of what applications customers want to use. I think the important thing is that we really sort of focus on the capabilities in the ecosystem and the enablers, the haptics, the other types of things to really sort of create the kind of things that support the customer and their needs. I mean, if you look at sort of, let's sort of say, video game industry and other things like, let's sort of say the Nintendo Switch, the way that they've opened up their ecosystem to do fitness and other types of applications, I don't think that's something that any one company or any one brand can do. I think that we need to sort of think about how do we sort of open things up and really allow us to support the customer in whatever they need. So rather than giving you a direct answer, I think the question is, let's collaborate, let's work together, and let's sort of build the things, because we don't know what the customer is going to want to do exactly in a car.
Yeah. Okay. So now from the car, let's go to infrastructure. There are also some applications to support connected and autonomous driving, like, smart parking or autonomous parking. So Mariana, could you please explain A1 approach, or are there any pilots or projects already going on related to parking or smart city offering in general?
Maybe just first switch to connected car again, because this is the basics now. Being European part of one of the largest operators worldwide, America Mobile, we will be part of a big ecosystem and will be able to provide a single integration point for customers in all our markets soon. However, we are partners with Vodafone already. And we will provide their internet in the car in several markets soon. We are already doing it in Austria, for example. And we especially expect a lot of from B2B channel, because this is an embedded SIM with B2B and B2C channel. So we can co-create a lot of additional services on it locally. Maybe I could also mention that within the group, we also started with TV content markets. We have our own sports TV channels, and we can use our new TV interface to our customers to transfer their entertainment to other smart devices, and there can also be used within the connected car. If I just switch to smart cities,
yes.
We are very active also in this space, what makes this vertical a little bit different to the others, where we can a lot of stuff already copy from the other markets that we are present on. Smart cities need some additional localization, at least in my point of view. Every municipality needs different approach because it has different challenges in the end. We tackle this with the ecosystem of very innovative partners, experts in their own solutions, being smart parking or digitalizing some part of the municipality process. And what also sets Slovenia somehow differently from the other countries maybe is a large dispersion of settlements. And on top of this also the European problem of aging population. Therefore, I think that private ownership of vehicles will still retain high numbers if we don't offer really flexible vehicle sharing possibilities with on-demand model that can reach beyond the city centers. Also within this space, sustainability is on our priority list when developing systems. In utility space, we can offer insight into the last mile of energy grid and data for various mobility scenarios that can improve prediction in energy consumption and similar solutions. And yeah, like with every of these areas, partnership is key. we invest a lot in co-creation of various industries, and only in this way we will come to some meaningful solutions that can benefit also businesses and, of course, in the end, the end users, which are recreating for them.
Yeah. And also you managed to set up the private 5G test bed here in Ljubljana at the BTC as well, to gain the public acceptance and basically to do it in the real life environment. And this leads, to my next question for Fede. So Fede, we know that in the past, a lot of innovation happened behind the factory doors, away from public eyes. But now when we go more to services, from products to experiences, also there is a shift of how innovation can be done in a better way by introducing the human-centric approach. So how can company prepare their teams for its arrival?
Well, all right, there's a lot to unpack there, so I'll try to keep it very concise. But basically, what we're seeing is a shift from, the vehicle as an object of external appreciation and sort of an object of beauty, which it still is, and for all us romantics that love cars, it's a moving sculpture that shifts with light. But future users are not seeing that. Future users are seeing the interior, right? So what we're seeing is a shift in the design of the interior out. So the interior is becoming much more important than the exterior. And in terms of how do we integrate that into a pipeline of pushing prototypes faster, further. So companies used to do that through the show car experience, right? And that's where they display their prototypes, that's where they display bold ideas, but that's just not enough, because at the end of the day, those ideas sort of become just static monuments, static pieces of art, which is fantastic, but it doesn't do much. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to change our approach in partnering with real sandbox cities and playgrounds and digital AB living labs like yours. And what we do is we actually create most valuable proposals or propositions with hardware, with software, and we create a smaller version of what those ecosystems might be. And so the show car experience is no longer just sort of this appreciation of this external beautiful thing. It's an actual prototype that users can test in a real living city, and that gives us real-time data so that we're able to iterate. And so we're entering an era, this is I think one of the key takeaways I want people to see, is that we're entering an era of iterative hardware and software development. So it's not just about V1, V2, alpha, beta for software, it's for hardware as well. And we need a physical place where we can test those iterations.
Yeah, and Alex, we have still time for the last question. So BMW is very innovative company. We work together at BMW World and BMW Museum, and we experience past and a little bit look into the future. So could you also please share with our audience, what can we expect from BMW in the future?
I mean, I think I actually was really liking what sort of Fede was sort of hitting on. I think that we want to bring out new things faster, earlier, faster than we have before. We do have the issues, for example, about sort of, let's just say, regulations. We can't, I mean, even internally in BMW, there's cars that I can't even drive until I have a special license. So I think that, we want to, we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline. We want to find ways to bring it out and bring out to consumers faster. Digital is certainly one area where, again, where we sort of see that we have the ability to sort of, let's sort of say, change the cycle. So if you talk about something like a brand new 7 Series, it's like, it used to be like a 7-year end-to-end development kind of a cycle. With software and other things that we can start bringing things out faster. So things like, again, software upgrades, options and services that really sort of allow customers to sort of have a different experience when they return, let's sort of say, when they move on to the next car from when they picked it up at the dealer. So I think that's one thing to how do we improve, let's sort of say, the small incremental steps to sort of transform what you are buying. You're not buying a sort of static vehicle, but you're buying a platform for, again, things that will come during the life cycle of the car. And I think I think if you look at what's been happening since 2016, the number of new cars and models and innovations that we have and the speed coming out, it's become much more rapid. So I think that on both levels, we're trying to sort of transform what does it take to develop and bring out a car, coming out, especially with electric vehicles and the demand for electric vehicles. That's changing a lot, and blending that with the capability of software to sort of, again, tackle and bring out new innovations in the short term. So I think that's basically the kind of the two domains where I sort of think we'll see. And 2021 is going to be a big year. I wish I could sort of share more, but I'm just going to have to stay tuned because it's going to be quite amazing. I think we've had some announcements about our electric vehicles coming out next year, but I think once they're really out in the field, we'll start to see a lot of new other additional things coming as well.
And Daniel, one more point to add to what Alex is saying, because I think this is quite important too, is there's a huge revolution in terms of data management right now, right? And what that allows us to do is create digital twins of cities. And we can run simulations to accelerate learning for autonomous vehicles. We can also drop prototypes without any safety concerns into these digital twins and run simulations of products and services. So the space between ideation and prototyping is shrinking dramatically because now we have these tools, AR, VR, you name it. It's shrinking that gap.
Yeah.
Sorry, please, Alex.
I can sort of say that, it used to be for safety tests, you'd have to crash, dozens and dozens of cars. Now we can let's say, build models based on an initial test and basically use, let's say, AI and machine learning to say, hey, we don't have to crash all these extra cars. We can actually simulate these crashes in very high reliability.
Yes. So what is great with this panel is that it could go hours and hours, this sharing and exchanging. But I just want to mention to our audience and to both of you, next year, 2021, we will have another City as a Lab Summit and hopefully in person, and we can continue the debate and see, Alex, how the BMW announcement in 2021, we could talk about them. But now we need to conclude this roundtable. One really, really big thank you for all of you. And Fede, for you, good night. And for Marianne and Alex, good day. And we will continue with our program. And once again, thank you for being on this roundtable.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
Now we are done with roundtable. Thank you all. We heard so many information that we need a break. Like yesterday, our coffee break will be different than usual. So please don't go away. But before I explain the way of having a virtual coffee break, just let me mention that we are preparing for you an exciting panel about the rise of e-mobility. E-mobility is the main driver of change in mobility space. Today we are seeing new startups entering this arena, and they show us a whole new reality and out-of-box solutions. About the rise of e-mobility, we will hear very soon after a short coffee break. And one more information. Our system will, when I stop talking to you, random place you in different virtual coffee break room where you will have opportunity to have live interaction with our key speakers. So, just grab your coffee and don't worry, the system will automatically bring you back to me. The event will start soon after the break. Thank you for now and see you soon.
Hello, everyone. Now it's time for the coffee break. And the coffee break is really different like it was a year ago. A year ago, we were in the conference room, and during the break, we could exchange the business cards, ideas, and connections, and we could just chat and so on. And now we decided really to have coffee break in a way that we talk with we have, hey, today you're already live, so welcome. Maybe if you turned your camera, it would be great. Otherwise, our audience will have a little bit. So the point of
is it better now?
Yeah, it is. It is great. So the point of the coffee break is really that we will chat, exchange ideas, and you can engage as well by putting on chat the questions, and we can discuss about that. So with me is already today Smogaves from the Petrol company. Petrol is our leading energy, retail, and also mobility provider in Southeast Europe. And now I go to mobility connected with energy. So today I see you're in a vehicle live.
Yeah, that's true.
So what's the story? Where are you heading?
I'm right now with my colleague. I can show you. My colleague Urs is with me. And we are now in Austria because we are going to Germany, Berlin. And of course, we are going with the electric vehicle.
What kind of vehicle, if it's not a secret?
It's not. It's a really good one. It's a Jaguar I-Pace. And I have to say that we have a really, really comfortable driving to the Germany.
Oh, great, great. So you're going fully electric, and how this looks like in practice? Because what I recall from a couple of years ago was, to going from Slovenia to Netherlands, you need to have so many different, cards for stations and registrations and so on. So how different is now the trip?
It's much different because when we plan route to Berlin, we saw that there is hundreds of charging stations on the way. So we really can go fearless to the long distance driving. We start today in the morning. We have approximately 130 kilometers behind us. So we barely started. But we have more than 700 kilometers in front of us. And we plan to charge, to stop approximately 4 times per hour route. So I don't think that this is any limitation for the electrical vehicle driving because we will stop in any way. We would stop at least 1 time for a lunch break, and we would stop 2 times for the coffee. So that's it.
Oh, great, great. So, but e-mobility is becoming a reality. So traveling is not any obstacle. So you are going now quite far distance. And how is with, we are always worried because with mobile phones, we are so used to be in roamings and automatically, the service is continuing. How is if I have, let's say, a Petrol card or wallet, digital wallet? How this works, let's say, in Austria, Germany, and on the way?
It is working in a very similar way that in the telecommunications. So with the card or application from one operator, I can show you, I can have it with me, the Petrol electromobility card. And with this card, we can charge on many stations around the Europe. We are going to Berlin because we want to meet partners from Hubject, which is one of the most, one of the biggest B2B roaming platform. And I can explain that we already signed a contract with them, and that means that we bring to our customers or enable our customers more than 250,000 charging points in the Europe and also in the other continents.
Yeah, but this is also the topic of the roundtable. But I'm going back to e-mobility. We have questions from Urshka in a chat. And of course, for mass deployment of e-mobility, it would be great if you could have wireless charging. because with all these cables and take it in from the trunk and basically, you know, connecting everything, it's quite takes time. So how you see as an expert in this field, how technology will evolve? Because we saw some cases, let's say, on highways in UK, that they have a reserved line for charging, and then there are some bus in other cities, some bus station charging. We saw from, let's say, BMW, the home appliance for wireless charging. So how is your view when this will be available?
Wireless charging, of course, will simplify the charging, but I think that technology needs to improve on this field. For nowadays, I think the bigger issue is the destination charging station, like in bigger parking places, parking lots, garages, and in all places where vehicles are staying for the few hours, because that's the most convenient time or where the vehicles can be charged. And also in the long distance driving, those new cars have very high range or long range, so if you can drive with the electric car more than 300 kilometers, then you have to stop for at least half an hour to rest a bit. So I don't think that technology today have some limitation of using the electric vehicles, and it's more important to build the charging stations on the end destinations. But the next generation, also the wireless charging, will be even more convenient for us.
Yeah. I'm sharing now one screenshot. I hope you all see it. And this is quite futuristic one. It says that we are moving from station-based charging to anywhere charging. And, you know, in ICT, the word IoT or Internet of Things is quite commonly used. And maybe the era of e-mobility of things is starting, because per year around 100 million vehicles are sold worldwide, and more of them are electric vehicles. So could be that, let's say, in 10, 20, 30 years, we will see an explosion of e-mobility things. So what's your opinion about that?
I completely agree with you. The machines are powered by electricity or by batteries, and all those machines, vehicles, and other things, they have
also
to be
air
charged.
taxis or passenger drones and other types of vehicles also.
Of course, not only, yes. I completely agree with you.
Mm. So the possibilities will be endless, but what are also now the challenges? Can one company solve all the problems, or there is a need for partnership within cities, let's say huge commercial business warehousing areas like BTC Ljubljana? So how this works?
Of course, one company cannot solve all the problems and all the challenges of the future, and we have to partner. We establish partnerships and work together on a project, and then make our goals to bring our goals to reality.
Great. So today, thank you for this lovely chat. And I wish you a safe trip further, and we hear each other soon. Before we go with Triglav, I would just like to kindly ask our audience to go quickly for a link and to our photo booth. And now we will continue with our leading insurance company, Zavarovalnica Triglav. First we start with video and then with conversation.
Thank you. Bye.
Triglav Group has been proudly reaching peaks ever since the parent insurance company was established in 1900. Started as an ambitious local pioneer, Triglav Group now has companies in all key regional markets and is internationally present through reinsurance. The group has grown to become the market leader in Slovenia and Adria region. Over 5,000 employees share our mission, building a safer future. With responsive, simple and reliable solutions and services, we are problem solvers whenever and wherever clients need us. We support sports spectacles and athletes, encourage promising talents, and make our environment both safer and cleaner. Because when reaching for the top, you must always push the bar higher and try harder.
So we are back. With me are as well Jaka Clement and Andras Trampuš. Hello. Back. So yesterday we spoke a little bit, about telematics, so the apps for measuring driving behavior and simulator and so on, and car sharing. So yes. Today I want to start with e-mobility. I would just take it from today from Petrol, and basically. So what's your view? Because, and for our audience, yesterday I was just saying, if somebody would told me, let's say 15 years ago, that insurance company will have so many mobility related products outside financial product, of course. But apps, simulators, and also the offering on the market. So how you see the opportunity of e-mobility?
So, for sure, as our predecessors spoke about it, it's our future, it's inevitable, it will happen. We always try to keep up with all the trends, and so is exactly the same thing with e-mobility. For now, I would have to say, data-wise, we have some data, but the time series of this data and the sample size is too small to have any statistical relevant findings. But for now, if I would have to say anything about it, is that electric vehicles looks like they're more riskier than the normal the petrol-driven vehicles, especially when they're both equipped with the same ADAS, with the same assistance systems, yes.
And that's quite logical if you think about it, because the difference between an electrical car and conventional cars are basically just the fuel type. And the battery is still not so developed as those conventional motors, so there are problems. They burn out, they can explode. I just watched last week one video on China that the whole electrical car just blew up, and firefighters were trying to put out the fire, but they didn't succeed. And one that bear me that the firefighters had to drown in water so that they cooled it down. So those are the things that we as insurance company have to take into consideration. So, but as electrical cars, they are even more powerful. They have higher torques. They are more sport-wise. So the driving behavior is probably even more dangerous than the basic conventional cars. So these are all the aspects that we need to take in our consideration. And as Jaka said, there are not enough data right now. So we can see if that is true. That is our logic that we are trying to figure out. Because if the best thing is if we can try to think everything about everything, every danger that it happen, and all the benefits that it happen, so we can prepare on that. And in the end, the time will tell if we were right or wrong.
Yeah. So to get more data, let's go with our question. Okay. So it's already on. So are you currently driving an EV? Great. So you can answer as an individual person or a corporate, doesn't matter what's your way of going around cities. And while we are waiting for results, we need to wait for, let's say, a little bit longer. So EVs, we all know they are coming. There is a learning curve. Combustion engine is with us, more than 100 years. And also EVs started in the beginning 100 years ago, and then the way of development it was more in the way for combustion engine. But I like when you start talking about advanced driving assistance systems. There will be many. So while we are waiting for electric vehicles, could you share what's your view on the ADAS?
Yes, regarding ADAS, we had a bit larger sample from the vehicles equipped with those type of systems in our portfolio. That's why we were able to perform some analysis and also came up with some statistics, which seems quite statistically relevant so far. And the findings are simple, that vehicles equipped with those types of systems are safer, less riskier than vehicles without such a system. Of course, we have to take into consideration also different coverages that we are offering. So right now, I'm just explaining to you about MTPL and motor-own damage. Of course, there is much higher claims when it comes to parking. For example, if the normal Golf, let's say, got hit on the parking, it's 200, 300 euros for the bumper. If it has all the radar and LED headlights or something like that, it could be 2,000 euros. So the claim severity is much higher, but the claim frequency for the MTPL and motor-own damage is much lower.
And this is
that these ADAS systems are rapidly rising ratio in our portfolio. For example, some systems can achieve to 50%, like lane assist. It's about 50% in new cars. They already contain that system. So we can see that the whole portfolio will slowly move in that direction. We are even considering how to, okay, so there will be even more systems in cars, so that will eventually lead to autonomous vehicles. And we are already considering how to combine it with that five level autonomy, so that we can check the cars through that, not only through ADAS, but we'll say, okay, that car is level 3, that car is level 4, okay.
Yeah, look, there is really a lot of work here, and that is why also now more and more I understand why you started early as a leading insurance company to invest in apps, you know, for driving behaviors, and also partnering with startup NerveTech for the driving simulator to capture, you know, the driving profile, because this will somehow, you know, users will benefit to get, let's say, more affordable insurance. Because yes, when we saw the price of a lens that is in the bumper, we immediately knew that, you know, the smallest damage, which usually we say it's nothing, you know, but the damage is broken and it requires completely new fix. It's quite expensive. So what we will see, so now we have a gap between completely level 5 autonomous vehicles, and not 1%, 2%, 3% on the roads, but majority. And today, where we have this very expensive equipment in the vehicles, and there is, of course, a human factor. So what you're saying is that with technology, you will try to provide better offering to your customers. And this is quite a wise thing. So what are the numbers? So how many people already experienced the driving simulator? Because I know that you are doing a roadshow around. And how many downloads of the apps you have?
So I think that we have approximately 150,000 downloads of Drive app and 125,000 active users. So it means that they at least once opened the app. About the simulator, I don't have the current numbers, but I know that there was some studies which included a few hundred test subjects that then we were also able to make some statistics out of it.
Okay, just now to conclude.
The simulator to lower the payment for young drivers. So
yeah. just to conclude quickly, can we just go through results? Are you surprised? 84% no, 16% yes for electric vehicles.
Again, because of this event, I'm not surprised. But in our portfolio is 0.1% currently of electric vehicles owners. So, it's a really nice number to see here, higher percentage.
Yeah, we support that. Okay, thank you, Triglav.
V mobilnem omrežju prihodnosti ni pomembno le, da hitro in udobno pridemo od točke A do točke B. Samovozeča vozila so učinkovita, zagotavljajo večjo prometno varnost in so prijazna do okolja. V realnem času zaznajo nevarnosti, najdejo prosta parkirna mesta in samodejno poiščejo naslednjo polnilno postajo. Izzive transporta blaga in osebnega prometa brezskrbno rešujemo s pametnimi vlaki, optimizirano letališko infrastrukturo in samodejno krmiljenimi letalniki. Prihodnost mobilnosti se samodejno izvaja v ozadju, da se lahko osredotočimo na stvari, ki nam v življenju pomenijo največ.
So we are back. With me is Vladimir Ban from A1 Slovenija. And hi, Vlado.
Hello.
And our topic in this coffee break room will be cybersecurity for automotive. It's quite a burning topic. And just for our audience to explain, to give a little bit of the base, and we are kindly asking you also to raise questions via our chat, is cyber attacks are growing. And no wonder, because in today's vehicle, there are more than hundreds of computer systems coming from different subcontractors to complete vehicle assembly. And basically, we are using them for infotainment, for telematics, for ADAS, for communication, for safety, for unlocking the vehicles, talking to the cloud, to vehicle to infrastructure, so on and on and on. So growing number of onboard computers, and no wonder why also we see more and more cyber attacks. And what even more important, that in, let's say per year, 100 million vehicles are sold globally, and more of them are connected. So, Vlado, thank you for being at this coffee. So could you just share for the beginning, so what's your view on cybersecurity for automotive, and what kind of project do you do in this field?
Well, obviously the cybersecurity in automotive industry is also very hot topic in security industry. Mm-hmm. But currently we are still in kind of a initial stage or beginning stage. Because either security you can always view as either from the technology point of view, or maybe from the threat point of view, or even if you're a hacker, from the opportunity point of view. And in all those cases we are in a beginning stage, which is a good thing, because currently why somebody would hack a car is because it's cool. There's no real benefit to do it today, but it's cool. It's cool to hack a car, to put it on YouTube, and to talk about it. But the same thing happened in let's say in normal IT. I don't know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it was cool to hack a company. Today, we see threats are growing, opportunities are growing, technology is becoming more complex, and there is no reason to think that the same will not happen also in automotive industry. Let's say what we are doing today. So on one hand, from technology point of view, things are very similar, like issues are like IoT issues. So of course you have a bunch of components coming live from the IT perspective, things like that, but we are still in kind of a, I call it IoT stage, where issues or challenges or threats are similar as in normal IoT. So components which are coming to market are let's say, usually very low secured, either due to, I don't know, some default settings, either due to some, let's say, primitive IT systems, normal IT component in the car doesn't have all the security things, I don't know, desktop computer has, things like that. And what we are most worried about, because this is all solvable, but what we are most worried about is that, hopefully as the industry, we will learn to implement higher security components and higher security standards at the very beginning. Because as I said, this is initial stage. It's very interesting stage, but at the end of the day, as I said, from the threat perspective, it's not really important. It's much more important to worry about, I don't know, crypto virus in the company than, hacking a car. But tomorrow things will become more dangerous. Eventually we will solve all the problems from the security perspective, but what we're trying to do with, I don't know, with the conferences like today, or with the some industry development we are doing, we try to make things more secure at the beginning, without having the need to, I don't know, to have some hacks and then later implement as a result of those hacks.
Vlado, I have a question. Because we have, let's say, a couple of minutes still to go, can we do a little bit of demo or something? Is this possible to show us the live?
Sorry, I don't have anything prepared, okay. But as I said, the reason I don't have, because from today's perspective, hacking is cool in terms of, I just hacked the car, or I just unlock your car, or whatever, but from the technology perspective, it's not because, I don't know, we have very sophisticated hackers. In most cases, those vehicles or those components are not even on the internet, so you have to be there, physically and things like that. And today, this is IoT, so I read about some cases, which went public regarding somebody hacked Tesla car, because, yeah, of course he has hacked the Tesla cars because they didn't have all the patches normal Windows desktop has, So from the technology perspective, things are not interesting yet, but will get more interesting as soon as there is no reason to think that tomorrow all the vehicles will be accessible through internet. Things will be very directly connected to physical safety. Things will be very directly connected to, I don't know, data stealing, and to automotive industry, because consumers are very addicted to the cars. It's different to hack a car, or maybe let's say to ransom a car, to encrypt everything in the car and pay a bill, or you don't have a car. You can see your car parked in front of your house, but you cannot drive it, you cannot enter it because somebody hacking it, and until you pay those, I don't know, 2-3 bitcoins, you're out of the game. So
vehicles are still not level 5, and they are not in mass deployment. But also in the chat, we have a comment from Simon, who is just sharing with us that ICO standard is under development, and it's expected to be finalized in H1 next year. And yes, you are completely right. So brands, OEMs are already getting ready for it. They also announced first Bugs Bounty hacking contest with ethical hackers to help them. The A1, of course, will be one of key players in this field as well of cybersecurity with projects in a real-life environment because, of course, your networks can help important role to make communication between vehicles, between cloud applications more secure. And of course, that is quite an important mission because vehicles will be robots on wheels, to be honest. And the question will, who will take a control and how the autonomous driving will come. It also will be firstly remote driven because law enforcement will require to take control. We need to secure that as well, those communication channels, as well the vehicles by themselves. But when do you see that we will get first results of let's say, some deployments of cybersecurity things? Because jammers are already in the use.
Well, I think the first real cases, or let's say important cases from the security industry point of view, will or should be available as soon as things will start to interconnect. You know, okay, there are some interconnections already today, but you know, still in a way, things are, let's say, based on individual components, individuals' ideas. You know, so as soon as everything will start to interconnect, you know, I don't see how this will be possible without strict security and of course new developments of the standards, also some new developments of some security systems, because it's very I would say naive to think like, you know, maybe we will not need it. You know, let's wait and see. You know, maybe hackers will not be interesting in cars. You know, definitely hackers are waiting. You know, because they're running out of business. You know, so let's say hacker industry, you know, is currently focused on enterprises. You know, and enterprises are getting better. So if you're a hacker, you know, today you have to do much more work to earn those bitcoins. You know, so you're looking for new, interesting, easy targets, and automotive industry is definitely one of the targets which are let's say being considered.
Yes, but they are also getting better. So thank you, Vlado, for this nice talk. And dear audience, we are now concluding this coffee break room, and we are going back to studio. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So let's start with new panel, Rise of E-mobility. It's a fact. The population in modern cities is still growing. To support individual mobility of citizens, our mindset has to change. We have to maintain health and space in cities. What kind of products and services developed for that until today in Renault Nissan Adriatic will tell us Mr. François Delion, Managing Director in Renault Nissan Adriatic. He came to Adriatic region after working 3 years in the Nordic countries, well known as the most developed countries regarding electrical mobility. Under his leadership, Renault is focused on increasing the share of e-mobility in Slovenia. Mr. Delion, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Petra, for this very nice introduction. Good morning, everyone. So I will indeed talk to you about e-mobility challenge and the way we tackle it at Renault Nissan Adriatic. But before I come to this what, I would like to spend 2 minutes on the how. And the how of e-mobility transition is environmental transition. I'm quite sure that during this latest Corona times, you also saw some picture, I don't know, from crowded city like Mexico or like New Delhi with this empty and silent streets and this blue sky above their heads. And basically, this was a kind of gigantic experience that showed to the people the emergency for this environmental transition. Maybe like me, you're living in Ljubljana and you're feeling much safer, far away from this crowded city, and you feel maybe this is something for the others. Then I have a bad news for you. And this bad news is this: global warming effect. Here you see the ranking of all the cities everywhere in the world, and unfortunately, this is not very often the case. Ljubljana is top ranking. And top ranking by being the most impacted city by global warming in the forecast for 2050. far away in front of the big European capital cities like Madrid, Paris, far away even above Mexico or New Delhi. So yes, we are all concerned by the environmental transition, and this is the first reason why for e-mobility. And this the politics have very well understood. And this is the reason why, under the pressure of the statistics about mortality, about air pollution, but about also the pressure of the population themselves, with stronger and stronger green movements, they have decided to go for very strong regulations. First, coming to the cities, of course. Here you see the list of the biggest European capital cities that have decided to implement low-emission zones, but also to ban traditional ICE combustion engine. This is also about, and went really beyond the cities, this is about the CAFE regulation that have started this year, and they are reshaping completely our new car sales. And this is true here in Slovenia, one of the greenest countries in Europe, with the ban by 2025 of all sales of new vehicles more than 100 grams of CO2. If you're not expert of this, basically for me, it means the major part of the sales I do today. So yes, we will transform fast, and we will transform fast due to this environmental transition. I would like to say one more word about this Corona times. Some of us at car makers thought, okay, maybe this will postpone a bit this need for long-term postponement of the environmental change. Some thought, okay, maybe due to the economical slowdown, we will refocus on more basic things. These people were obviously wrong. Corona epidemic has just been an accelerator factor of all this. And this has been particularly obvious in the country of automotive, Germany, where the people have been pushing very hard the politics to go for, yes, support to this very strong and essential industry to countries like Germany, France, or Slovenia, but towards greener mobility. So this just accelerated everything. The CAFE regulations have stayed, the Euro regulations have stayed, no cities will reopen this door to traditional combustion engines, and we just all have to accelerate. So yes, the environmental transition and the environmental crisis is on. And with the ban of traditional combustion engines, with the fines imposed to the most polluting cars clear for us, for car makers, this can be seen as a real threat. But like any crisis, like any economical crisis, this is also a world full of opportunities. And us, at Renault, this is really the way we look at environmental transition, like a world of opportunities. And I would like you to go through this into video with us right now to show you this. So yes, e-mobility is on the move at Renault. But I would like to detail this a bit more now. At Renault, we are very proud about talking about 10 years of success into e-mobility, 10 years of experience. 10 years of experience which resulted in something very simple. Renault Group is the first at e-mobility in Europe. By putting now already 300,000 EV vehicles on the road, we are ranking first. In front, and it will maybe be a surprise for some of you, in front of Tesla, this brand which is born with the environmental transition. And we are very happy to share this podium of EV sales with another brand of ours, Nissan, member of the Renault Nissan Alliance, and together we've put 500,000 EV electric vehicle cars on our road. So we are by far the most experienced brand into developing e-mobility by putting EV cars on the road. But this is, I would say, the traditional world of the automotive and the traditional world of the automaker. For us, at Renault, it's just the foundation to work on something much bigger regarding e-mobility. And this, of course, starts with the city as a lab. For this, we already started working very early, and this, we have been focusing very much into being the leader into electric car sharing operations. And this, we are by far today. But it's just the beginning of the adventure, and my colleague Vincent will just come later to explain you how we still want to partner, to develop, and looking for new opportunities in that field. But as I said, environmental transition is not just for the cities, it's for everyone. And that's the reason why we moved from city as a lab to even island as a lab. And this is the example of the Porto site island in Portugal, that we helped to move from 100% fuel dependency to 100% renewable energy. How? By providing, of course, EV cars for the e-mobility, but to provide these cars to do something even more. We brought vehicle-to-grid technology. What does it mean? We transformed our electric vehicles into battery on wheels, providing not only charging, but also providing power where it's needed, when it's needed on the island. And the second thing we did is, because we have 10 years of experience and 10 years of EV cars running, we have already now some cars having batteries with high age and lower capacity, not bringing the proper autonomy to the vehicles. We have provided this battery to stock electricity during the night when the solar panels are unfortunately not providing energy. So island as a lab, but we went even further. We went to village as a lab. And this village has a name. This name is Happy. It will make you smile. This is the most remote village in France, in the middle of the countryside. And we brought this village to 100% e-mobility, even if it's the most remote village in France. What's the interest of the experience? It was basically to show something essential in the Renault DNA. We want to show that e-mobility is accessible for all. And we are proving it with this experience. That's what we are at Renault. Thank you very much. Thanks for your attention. See you soon.
Mr. De Leon, thank you, and we wish you agreeable stay here in Slovenia. Mobility is at the edge of strong transformation. Cities continue to grow, traffic jams are getting longer, and pollution calls us to change. Groupe Renault wants to be a part of solution. How will they reach the goal? Mr. Vincent Carré, Car Sharing Operation Director from company Groupe Renault, welcome to the summit.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be with you this morning, and I will start my presentation. So you've seen in the presentation from my colleague Mr. De Leon that Renault has really made a strong investment in electric cars. And electric cars has brought naturally Renault to new mobilities. And why new mobilities? Because, of course, it's a trend, but it's a trend which is based on very important things happening today in the world, not only in Europe, not only in Slovenia, but also in the world. There are three major trends happening today in the world and in the big urban areas, in big cities. The first trend is that urbanization is very strong, as you know, and that probably in 10 or 20 years, 75% of the population will live in big cities. Increasing all the issues that these big cities need today, that means, for example, congestion, pollution, and public health due to cars, but not only to cars, and providing the need for very strong transport regulation. At the same time, we have two different trends a very strong strength for ecology and sustainability, especially in the young generations arriving today on the mobility market, and a real rise of the sharing economy. And all these natural trends provoke a drastic move from people to traditional transport modes, to new mobilities, and to shared mobility. Renault is the European leader in electric cars. We have started to sell cars to new mobility operators 8 years ago. We have learned a lot, and now we are also not only leader in electric car sales, but also a leader in new mobility operation, especially in car sharing. And that's what I'm going to describe you today. So, our main brand in car sharing in Europe today is ZT. ZT is a very important service, very modern service that we launched 3 years ago in Madrid. Madrid is a city very well advanced in terms of new mobilities and car sharing. ZT is a free-floating service launched 3 years ago. That means that the cars are naturally present in the street. They are located by digital application, and every step of the renting process of the car is digital. The cars can be rent from 1 minute to 1 week. They are all electric, which is today mandatory to operate on a good basis in the European cities, because only electric cars, zero-emission cars are acceptable in this context. This operation, ZT, is based on two main competencies. The first competency is how to manage, how to operate electric cars, to charge them, to maintain them, which is the competency of Renault, and how to operate a service in urban context, which is very dense urban context, which is the competency of our partner Ferrovia, which is a Spanish company specialized in services. The operation of ZT relies also on a very strong data expertise to manage the localization of the car. The most important of this expertise is the capacity to make the right car available at the right place at the right moment. That means that we have progressively created a database based on the day of the week and the hour of the day, to be able to understand the needs of the customers and where the cars have to be replaced. Which means that when a car has been run out of autonomy, the jockey is going to take the car, is going to a base, it is charged, washed, because the quality of the car is very important in this kind of business. And then it's re-put on operation, but not anywhere, at the right location, depending on the time of the day. So naturally, our free-floating process is able to bring the car at the right place for the customer. And so there is an increase of the quality of the service and the variety of cars each day after each day. So very important. So our operation in Madrid in figures, it's an operation launched 3 years ago. As I said, this is really a keyless experience. Everything is managed by the smartphone, so it's very modern, very efficient. We have some electric cars which are the best in the market today. The Renault Zoe, it's the most sold electric car in Europe. It's a car totally adapted to car sharing by its size, its 5 places. 1/3 of our fleet is equipped with baby seats, which is very important because we have half of our customers are family customers. They progressively renounce to get private cars because the constraints to private cars in city centers is too high. And so we need to adapt to their family needs, which is very important for us. And Zoe is also the cars today in Europe with the best autonomy, which is close to 400 kilometers. Real range, so that which means we charge the cars for probably every 3 days. So we have in Madrid today 734 cars. This is an operation with more than 330,000 users now, which means that practically 20% of the population of Madrid is customer of it. That is the kind of data we find in every cities which have strongly invested in car sharing. Cities like, for example, Vancouver in Canada, Moscow in Russia, Milano in Italy. We find the same kind of data, which is globally between 20% and 30% of our adult inhabitants of these cities are customers of car sharing, which is a massive change in the market. And it shows also the potential of this kind of activity. We have also launched this activity in Paris. Now it was in May, despite the strong COVID context. And we see exactly the same way of developing in Madrid, which confirms us that all the European cities and probably a lot of cities in the world will follow the same path, because the constraints are quite the same. And you see that in each city we have some charging and energy partner, because of course when you manage electric cars, you need also to get some strong charging infrastructure. We don't use public infrastructure; it's too complex, it's too expensive. We have some bases between 3 and 4 places per city where the cars are charged and washed in an optimized and industrial way, so that we can provide quality to the customers. And the NPS, the Net Promoter Score of our operation, is very good for this kind of activity, with a Net Promoter Score above 50. And for the guys working in this kind of subject, it's a very good level of quality. It's very important because the quality of the car sharing operation is also linked to the image of the city. So if you want to operate on a longer base in these cities, of course, to get a very high level of quality and cleanliness of the cars. So this is what I wanted to tell you about electric car sharing. Just as a little conclusion, what I would say is that this transition from the world of yesterday, where everybody was possessing his own car, to all these sharing activities, is engaged. It's a move that will never come back. Because of all the constraints imposed to the cities today, from congestion to pollution, and the strong developments of the urban areas. So this is engaged, and as it is engaged, and that we know that an automaker like Renault has made the choice to go strongly in this kind of business. This is not a business that you can operate like that. This is a business that requires a lot of experience and say competencies in terms of human service, car maintenance, and this is really the strength of Renault and ViaVan to put together all these experiences, all these competencies to deliver the process. Renault and ViaVan with ZT are now engaged in discussion with 12 European cities who would like us to bring the service. So you see that it's a global move. It's not only a French or Spanish move. And we would be very happy to continue soon with our subject. Thank you very much to you. I hope this subject was interesting, and I wish you a very good event. Bye-bye.
Oh, great. Groupe Renault will be the part of solution. Thank you, Mr. Carré. In the future, e-mobility will have similar role like Internet of Things in the ICT industry. E-mobility will be everywhere, connecting and charging billions and billions of things. We are building the mobility of things era, and in the next roundtable, our speakers will share their vision and approach towards accelerating the rise of mobility.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Petra, for the introduction, and welcome everyone to the Rise of E-Mobility Roundtable. Here with me are the following guests. Mr. Vincent Carré, Car Sharing Operations Director at Groupe Renault, whose presentation you just heard. Mr. Tadej Smogavec, the new Head of Sustainable Mobility Development at Petrol, bringing new ideas to their go-to-market strategy for the leading energy, retail, and mobility company in Southeast Europe, and Mr. Gregor Scholz, Department Manager Safety and Electromagnetics, who strongly believes that product testing is an essential part of the automotive innovation and e-mobility industries. Welcome. Also welcome, dear audience. Please keep in mind, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll look at them at the end of the roundtable. My first question goes to Mr. Vincent. Mr. Vincent, what are the key challenges when it comes to expanding e-mobility around the world?
So the first challenge we face in e-mobility is the fact that the customers are frightened to change their automotive habits. This is really the most important thing we have to deal with. Automotive is a market where people are very nostalgic. They are used to refer to cars as family things, things from their past. They like these products. There's a lot of emotion in these products, and change drastically the way these products are moved is something very frightening. And so this is the first thing we have to deal with. The step we have done since 2012 is huge. It's incredible how things have changed in 8 years. This year in Europe, there will be more than 500,000 electric cars sold, which is something extraordinary. The movement is engaged, but it was long, and it was the job of automakers to be patient and to solve all the issues, to reassure the customers, to increase the range of the car. Now the cars are 400, 500 kilometers real range, and also to push infrastructure. But we do all the days.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent. With us is also Mr. Tadej Smogavec from the company Petrol, who is actually experiencing e-mobility right now, directly from the electric vehicle. Mr. Tadej, how is the experience and what is the purpose of your business trip? You're muted. Perfect.
Okay, can we?
Yeah,
we can
hear you now.
Hello to everyone, and I can tell you that the experience is great. And as I told already in the breakout room, that me and my colleague, we are going to Germany, to Berlin, which is really a long distance drive with electric vehicles, around 1,000 kilometers in one direction. And the purpose of our business trip is to meet business partners and also meet a partner subject, which is one of the largest B2B roaming platform, and to attend the Intercharge Network conference. And I'm honored to announce that Petrol has just signed the contract with the subject, and enable our customers more than 250,000 charging points around Europe and also in the other continents.
Congratulations on the new deal. And I was actually just about to ask, I have some experience with traveling in electric vehicles, and I know 5 years ago, I mean, even traveling between cities, nonetheless countries with an electric vehicle was quite a challenge. How has things changed for the better today?
It is true. 5 years ago, it was almost impossible to drive such a long distance with the electric vehicles. I know some enthusiasts with the electric cars who have done that, but with the electric extension cables and charging mostly on the normal electric plugs. But there were two limitations of doing that. Is that the car ranges were lower or shorter, and there were not enough charging points or charging infrastructures for electric vehicles was not developed. And my previous colleagues in Petrol has foreseen this challenge and start building infrastructures in Slovenia, charging infrastructure even 8 years ago. And after that, they joined in 3 big EU projects, which were focused on establishing and building charging infrastructure, especially in the Southeast Europe. And thanks of that, we are still leading two consortiums of two projects. We could connect several countries like Slovakia, Hungary, Austria, Slovenia, and Croatia and Romania together. And we can drive now freely with our electrical vehicles, even in the long distance travel.
Perfect. So besides expanding the infrastructure, what other key priorities are in your e-mobility strategy?
We have like three priorities. Building the infrastructure, especially in Slovenia and in the countries of Southeast Europe. And we would like to partnership with the other companies who are also building infrastructure or offering the charging service solutions, because we would like to connect all those charging stations that our customers can charge their vehicles anywhere in the Europe. And the third and very important initiative is to offer especially companies electric vehicles as a service. So the company can rent or lease an electric vehicles from us, and then change a part or even a whole fleet of the company for the electric vehicles without any high initial investments.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Tadej. Today, we are experiencing a lot of new automotive startups who are using e-mobility for their entry products to compete with the traditional automotive OEMs. And the traditional OEMs are responding by introducing their own e-vehicles as well, such as Renault Zoe, Nissan Leaf, etc. These e-vehicles have a lot of connected features and autonomous capabilities, making them vulnerable for cyber attacks as well. So, Mr. Gregor, how is the Slovenian Institute of Quality helping automotive players in the field make their vehicles more resilient to these threats?
Cybersecurity is just one part of, but very important part of the testing of parts in e-mobility vehicles. For example, we are not testing only cybersecurity. We, for example, testing also the charging station. For example, those who are using in Petrol, using by Delta Energy Systems. And for example, I'm just now in one of the company who is doing the charging systems also for the other stations. So this is one part. The second part is how to connect the stations, and here all these stations has a web access, and this through web access is possible to have some interruptions. The second thing is of course cybersecurity of e-vehicles, and here unfortunately as a Slovenian company under non-disclosure agreement we has not been tested any I would say real projects due to the fact all companies are like Renault, for example, are keeping this part more or less for themselves and try to do that inside. But we are for example working on cybersecurity protocol for testing, which has been set for one other German company and reviewed by, for example, Siemens, and he has no requirement. So it's quite important that somebody from outside also check what's happening, and of course not what's happening when everything is okay, but what's happening when some things go wrong. And SIQ is here to check that, also to test that.
Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing your views, Mr. Gregor. My next question goes to Mr. Vincent. What are the key initiatives that Groupe Renault is introducing this year? Anything on safety?
So our initiatives will be still in the same strategy. So we have two legs. We have the car initiatives. where we are going to increase our range of electric vehicle. That means that we will cover more segments of the market. And in 2022, we will cover with pure electric cars or electrified cars more than 80% of the automotive offer of the group. Okay, so we will cover 80% of the market. And there will be a lot of announcements in the coming weeks and months about the new cars we're going to launch. This is really mandatory to comply with all the CO2 and pollution regulations coming and for the automotive makers. We are ready for it. The second leg is to go on to develop our mobility platforms. We are going to develop cities, so we are currently discussing with 12 cities in Europe and elsewhere to develop our service. Of course, the coronavirus was a tough period because we had to stop our developments. But the good news it is that the car sharing and all the e-mobilities are recovering extremely fast post-confinement. So it's very difficult for public transportation to recover. People are frightened of it. But e-car sharing is really pushed by the customers, desired by the customers. So we are going to increase our developments in this direction.
Perfect. Thank you very much. My next question goes to Mr. Gregor. Could you share with us some of your recent projects in the area of testing and cybersecurity to make mobility safer for all?
Yeah, maybe like I mentioned already, we are working mainly on components testing, and those components, the major components, for example, for charging or to control vehicles is EV charger. For example, yeah, we are working also on new testing on the Renault charger, for example, for all 3 types of Zoe, and for also for the others. So what we are testing, of course, we are testing communication, how to interrupt in this communication, and what happen if somebody, like mentioned in the previous conference, interrupt into this communication for just a fun, and then do the cause the issues. For example, what was also one case, you are of course have hands on your steering wheel, and then how to assure that this electromagnetic field is always present. So a car would automatically stop in case they don't feel the driver behind the wheel, and then they will automatically stop. What if these sensors are not working well, and the car will start to stop during the driving? All these things we try to test, and this was one of most interesting tests in last months.
Perfect, thank you very much. Mr. Tadej, how can governments help to further promote e-mobility?
I think they can do a lot. For sure, they should open a dialogue with all stakeholders in EV world. And it's time that they hear all our challenges, ideas, solutions, and to partner with us in creating enabling environment for growth of the EV market. And it is very important to adopt supportive legislation, ensure financial support, simplifying procedure for permitting regarding deployment of EV chargers, and make taxis more friendly to EV users. That will be really good for us.
Understandable. Thank you. I will now check the Zoom for any questions in the chat, and I see our audience is already very interested in our topic. So the first question I'm going to ask our representative from the company Petrol. What about contactless charging? Do you have any experience in this direction, all the way from the platform to application and service at the point of charging?
We don't have experience in charging with the contactless, but we have a platform which could support this way of charging.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Next question for Mr. Vincent. How do you see integration of mobility with other parts of our lives, such as living in smart homes/cities, working, doing sports, culture, entertainment, etc.?
That's a very huge question. I think that what is important in mobility for the future is available for the transportation the people want to do. That means that we are going to adapt more and more at the way of life of the customer. I will give you an example. When, for example, there's a big event outside the city, for example, a tennis tournament or whatever, during 2 weeks, we are able to open a zone, and during these 2 weeks, people can go from the city to this place with the city. Okay? So this is really the kind of things we are all the time trying to imagine. So, and the second thing it is that we always try to put our cars where the customer need them. They don't have the same needs on a Monday or a Friday. On a Monday, probably they will try to have a business usage, and they need the car to their home. On a Friday night, maybe they're going to make sport and they need a car close to their sport. So we are always, all the days, repositioning the cars in order to try to follow the habits. And this is the way I think mobility has to comply with the habits of the customers.
Very good answer, Mr. Vincent. I like your view on things. And then our last question goes back to Mr. Gregor regarding the previous topic. And it says, could you share with us your view regarding wireless charging? Are we ready for this?
Yeah, wireless charging, we are talking about two wireless charging. One is wireless charging of the cars. I believe here almost all car manufacturers already have solution in final testing procedures and also serious, ready for serious demand. This couldn't be a problem. So to charge your car on your parking place in front of the house or inside of the garage, this is one part. And the second part, of course, is the wireless charging while you are driving. So this is just testing procedure. We didn't have opportunity to test the previous tests, wireless charger for the cars inside of garage. We were present, and also we are doing several of such tests. But the charging on the track where you are able to drive 20 kilometers per hour and charging your buses, or this what we saw, is for the time being at least not ready for for mass production, because investment in such charging station is enormous. You need to have hundreds of kilometers of charging station, and this is really future probably.
Yeah, completely understandable. Thank you very much. We have time for 2 more questions. The first one goes to Mr. Vincent. What is your vision about the importance of partners, cities, companies, suppliers, etc., to develop e-mobility?
Very important, very, very important, and almost mandatory. The first partnership is between the operator of new mobility and the city. If you don't operate alongside to the strategy of the city, you cannot operate. So before launching, you have to check that your strategy and the one of the city are compatible. And this needs also an adaptation to the strategy of the city often. Second, there are very important partnership. In e-mobility, for example, you need a charging partnership. You need a charging company, an electricity company, like Petrol, for example, ready to accompany you and to provide electricity and charging infrastructure. This is mandatory also. And third, when you are an automaker, and this is another example, you need to rely on a company expert in urban service, which is really a different kind of job. And that's why we made this alliance with Ferrovial in Spain, who is an expert of urban services. 3 examples.
Perfect. Thank you very much. This is it for our roundtable. Thank you to all of my panelists, and thank you for everybody who was participating. I hope you have a lovely day, and back at you, Petra.
Claudia and all panelists, thank you very much for all the meaningful points of view. We have come to the end of our Mobility Summit 2020 City as a Lab, in 10 countries with more than 20 speakers. And of course, with you, we flew over the most important future stories in the century. emerging technologies, sharing economy, changing attitude from private to shared vehicle. These are the keys to better and easier life and greener planet. I'd like to invite once again Daniel Audagic to help me wrap up this wonderful summit. Daniel, can you please tell me shortly, or maybe with some magic words, all about the summit City as a Lab?
Well, summit was amazing. If someone would tell me 15 or 10 years ago that on automotive event we would hear so many other brands from non-automotive industry speaking, like for example from aerospace, smart cities, energy, utility sector, telecommunications, fintech, insurance, financial institutions, I would be really surprised. So what is happening and what we saw in 5 sessions, the first one was smart cities, second was mobility as a service, then was innovation in mobility, autonomous marketplace for self-driving, and at the end, of course, the rise of e-mobility. What we heard is that all brands are pushing hard for the new mobility solutions. And I'm looking forward for next year, 2021, because I know there will be even more new great stories.
Thank you, Daniel Audagic from AV Living Lab company from Ljubljana. And of course, thank you to general sponsor Petrol and all sponsors for your help and support. And thank you to the main Slovenia media house, Delo. After all, thank you, dear audience. We couldn't have done it without you. So thank you, America, North and Latin. Thank you, Europe, Middle East and Africa. Thank you and goodbye, Asia and Pacific region. Thank you to all and be with us next year. Goodbye.
My first experience of Slovenia was so much more than I expected. Now that I've been here a few times, I know it might be small in size, but it's big in its achievements. Now I know Slovenia's economy is green, its people are creative, and their technological solutions are smart. Slovenia, a land of infinite potential with fantastic opportunities. Which one will you take?